Twitch chat.
Look at the camera.
This is the guy. This is the guy making the run to the LCS, to the LCS Challengers League. Round of applause for Scary Jerry.
Shout out Collegiate. We're coming for everybody. We're going to win. Also, Shogo's been in the Twitch chat of every match that we've had, so shout out to him. He's our biggest fan.
Nice.
Can't wait to take St. Thomas out in the finals.
Kind of going back to the Lucian item here in the bot side. This sets up really nice for Lucian's ultimate because the support item he'll grab is the damage amp. So you throw down that auto, you know, you get the slow, you pump your ult. Oh boy.
Flash, doesn't matter if you die, and Wixie gets pierced through the heart. Victory in your first series of the split. It's a little bit of a top kingdom, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he was completely gapped both games. It was just a slaughter, what can I say? But it's really good to see you guys again.
Top laner is going to show up as teleports are channeled. Now jumping in is Jenkins right on the chime. Bleeds him down so damn quickly. Quad is here. And a double kill as the sword slices down from Surdy.
I want to go to you as an individual, as we do see the Grim Reaper running around behind you. Thank you, Shochi, for being the mascot for the team. Still clumped up. They haven't gone down yet. Shochi's just free firing. Jumps in. Over the knockup from Niles. No knockup combo for Spyrax to look for, and he even goes down. Shochi with a double kill, making a triple kill. Reset City versus Supernova's mid laner. Quadra kill to Shochi, and they will ace Maryville.
There is a reason that I said it's going to be a Shochi specialty game. The future of the LCS starts right after the LCS. Welcome to Challengers League.
Welcome back, everyone, to LCS Challengers. Our first series has now completed, and I just want to take a moment to kind of bask in it one more time, because, man, Maryville looked great today, Cubby.
That was a really fun series. It was a 2-0 on the scoreboard. Maryville took both wins in convincing fashion once they got Baron. I think up until then, games were very close and competitive. So TLC definitely have some positives they can take away, and still a couple things they really need to work on if they want to be that playoff competitor. Because dropping to the record they're at right now, I mean, that puts TLC at 3-5. It's not at risk of relegation, but it's something that TLC, they're going to want to win, or else they're going to have a really tough first-round matchup.
But it still comes back to Maryville, because the improvements from one year to the next, and seeing this team grow and flourish, and especially players like Scary Jerry, who are still just putting such aggression into the bottom lane. Niles, who's playing towards the rest of the map. Spyrax and Yuchi, who are putting on performances. That game 1 shuffle from Spyrax, game 2 still from Yuji. Right now, we are just basking in Maryville University before we head into the next match, because it was that beautiful, Cubby. It was that beautiful.
It was fun. That was a good match, but I'm excited for the next one, as we have AOE versus Fear, 2 teams in the middle of our standings. And funnily enough, I mean, we only have 4 more days of challengers, and AOE are playing 3 series between today and the next couple. They're 2-4 right now, have the least amount of series played, and honestly, it makes sense, because for me, that's still the team that I'm looking to see what's up with them. I don't really know like what AOE's identity is, like strengths and weaknesses. I don't have a great read on this team. We've seen the least amount of tape on them, and excited to see more. We've seen some good moments, some bad moments, but an opportunity for them to take down a team that's really emerging from the middle of the pack in Cincinnati Fear.
I mean, for AOE, I gotta agree. It feels like a little bit of an identity crisis as to what this team is good at, what they do. It doesn't feel like a full cohesive unit just yet, and that's not saying that these are bad players to any regard. Onat, for example, is someone I hold, to a pretty good standard. I think he's a very, very capable mid laner, but even talking to him about stuff, the morale hasn't gone down for AOE, given a lot of their performances. They still feel like they're very capable in the next matches. And even with their strength of schedule, looking ahead, they have Wildcard and DSG. A lot of their toughest matches are already gone. So if you're going to rebound, it's about the time to do it.
I mean, this was a team that was on the top of the table in the most competitive Tier 3 event that we had last fall in Aegis. I think Onat had a great tournament in that and really kind of made headway as a mid laner. And now as someone that I definitely consider is like, he's middle of the pack, right? He's the middle of the pack mid laner that we have in Challengers. That's better than what he was looking like in Team Fish Taco when he got relegated. I think we've seen some ups from him, but again, his gameplay is very mage centric. And I think that for AOE, like, I don't know exactly what they want to do. They have some weird champ pools they have to meld. Like, Zamuno has picks that he always wants to play that are on the cusp of being capable. We also have, Rose Thorn wanting to invade. I think that Wixie and Breezy, like, they've played some bot lanes well and some other bot lanes not as well. Wixie's one of the few bot laners winning on Callista, but, like, outside of that, it's kind of been just So I want to see, like, I'm just curious to see more about AOE. I don't really know where this team's at yet.
And that's a little bit of a shame for me, because a lot of these components of AoE I was very excited about. Wixie, Breezy, on paper leading into this year, this was the bot lane where I was like, yeah, that's where all my Decibucks are going. I'm betting right there, but it just hasn't quite lived up to the expectations that we've been hoping for. On the other side of things, how do you feel about Fear when it comes to expectations?
I think that yesterday was a big win for Fear. That 2-1 against Supernova was a very competitive series. I think that they managed to find their way back in to a couple of those games, and I really continue to be impressed by the bot lane of Fear and Lens and Daption. When we came into the season, it was a lot about, Toasty, this really promising rookie that we have. I feel like Toasty had his best series yesterday, which is great. I think that him and Chad did a better job of working together, as Chad has kind of calmed things down around the map, and I feel like that's helped Fear a lot. But when I look at this team, it's like Lens and Daption just continue to perform, and for me, fly a little bit under the radar compared to a lot of the other teams and players we've been getting excited about in Challengers. So I want to continue to see Lens and Daption really show up. I think it's been a really good play from both of them so far this season.
Lens has been just a brick house in the bottom lane, and I do like how
really
Daption has really complemented that. But what has stuck out to me the most in Fear has been Chad and Toasty. I've talked with Chad, and he says he specifically plays around Toasty. He spent a lot of his career around, like, a lot of veteran high-level mids, right? Ryoma, Pretty, Bolulu. He's been around the field when it comes to that. So coming into this and now taking a more vocal position, being a leader, and taking Toasty under his wing and saying, like, hey, I'm going to set you up for success so we can just take over a lot of these mid-game fights. It has been a different take from Chad, which, in the previous seasons, we've never seen him take that leadership role. We've never seen him in that driver spot, but he seems to be flourishing at it. He absolutely does love it. When I've talked to him about it, it's all smiles for him. He can just go on and on for days.
I know that talking with him before the season, Toasty was a mid that he was excited to play with, to really have the potential to be more of that mentor and veteran presence. And Chad is responsible for a lot of calls. Like, him and Daption are the ones that pretty much run the maps over in the Fear camp. And I think that we've definitely seen Fear kind of level things off, like kind of chill the map a little bit more as the meta and the season has continued. And I think it's been really good for Chad and Toasty. I think that Toasty at times still kind of fishes for looks, but I don't want to stop Toasty from doing that, because I think sometimes he finds really good looks. And I think Fear is kind of on the upswing. Like I said yesterday in that series, that I think there was a clear top 3 for me, with Supernova, Maryville, and FlyQuest being the top 3 teams we have. Supernova being a sound 3rd. At the moment, I have to put Fear in a pretty sound 4th in terms of, like, where I rank the teams in our league. I think that they've done enough to create some space between themselves and TL and the rest of the pack, and also have been competitive with some of the teams at the top. So if they want to stay there, I think a 2-0 or 2-1 against AOE today would be really good for moving to 5-3, ensuring a positive seed going into playoffs, and also just continue to show good form and good play.
But the thing is, coming into this match, they're not looking at this as if it's going to be an easy match. Yeah, AOE, they're 2-4 on the season. I talked with Chad about it, and he still feels like this is going to be close, even though it's 4th place versus 7th place, right? Because he's played with some of these players, right? He's played with Wixie. He knows the potential that Wixie has. They were roommates in Korea. They have a lot of banter going on when it comes to being off the stage, out of game. They just love to joke around to that regard. But knowing that potential and knowing the potential that a lot of these players have, I mean, Rose Thorn was one of the players that took Chad out of a playoffs before. He's not going to disrespect this team, and he is believing that this is going to be a bit of a closer matchup than other people might anticipate.
I think it's good to not count out any opponents. I will say that we usually would like to try and keep things moving here on the Challengers stream, but I know that we're in a little bit of a delay right now, as we're still trying to get there. But I appreciate Chad, at least making sure that he's not discounting anyone. I feel like Chad's been very competitive. And I think that at least it's good to see that, like, Fear, this is a younger team still, like, when you look at it, right? Toasty's not the only rookie. I know that Daption has hoisted a Seedlaw trophy, but this is really his first appearance in Challengers League as well. Lens and Zamudo both Lens in year 2. Philip has the most experience, which is crazy to think because, like, Philip started playing competitively when I started casting, which is like 3 years ago, which is making me feel old, or 4 years ago almost, making me feel old. But it is a team that it really feels like they're kind of settling into their own identity. And again, with AOE, I haven't seen as much tape on them, and we're kind of like the tape we've seen, still kind of like, what are they going to look like? And I think that's going to be interesting to watch going into the series today.
I think at this point we should pull up the rosters. There are some draft difficulties that we're getting through right now, so that's why it's a little bit extended for the time being. But
we got soon. I heard it soon though, so hopefully we get the games quite soon.
Yeah.
We like action here. You know, we're trying to copy the LCS format, where the less you see of us and the more you see of the game is a winning formula. And you know, not just given how we look. Anyway, let's get to the players that look better. As we have my favorite player photo out of anyone that we have in Challengers League coming in. That'd be Onat's Fraternity Composite.
Yes.
That's just, it's so epic.
Yes.
I love the fact. I don't know if it's a Fraternity Composite or not. It looks like one, and I think that's hilarious. But boys in gold.
Dude, I also love Onat's swagger. If you've heard him in like different interviews and stuff. I remember we had at the start of the season like who he wanted to face off against, and he was just like, Quad. So bad. Yeah. I want to dunk on him so bad. And I just love that that type of confidence and that type of competitiveness that we get from the O Nation being on the squad. Now let's pull up the opponents that they'll be facing. It's going to be Cincinnati Fear, some of the best player photos you will ever see. I don't know why Philip and Lens decided to dip away from the Reaper costumes, but
Chad's
got
back
3 Reapers
in the Reaper. Chad was in the INT uni yesterday, and now he's back in the Reaper. That's
I want to know what's going on now.
Changing from Fear. I don't. Maybe it's like a behind the scenes thing. You know, they're just deciding like who gets to be Reaper or not. Like Lens flashing a card, Philip flashing the first place jersey. I mean, I could see that. That's some good luck, some good mantra coming in.
One of the things I do love about this squad is some of the angles they can take when it comes to champion picks. More particularly, you know what I'm talking about, Cubby. It's the Rengar. We've been seeing the last couple of times coming out from Chad. They keep going for that Rengar-Orianna combo, and so far, not that bad on the results.
It's something. I mean, Rengar is a Chad special going.
It is. Oh yeah.
It's been decent. It's always fun to see the unique picks make its way in the challengers. Seen Rengar a couple times in game 3 scenarios, and worked out well yesterday. I mean, I think Chad definitely knows this champ better than a lot of the other people, just given how much he's played it, and he's able to show it whenever he pilots it. So I appreciate when Chad's able to find angles like that to play champs. I know I was thinking about Wukong in that scenario. He managed to go with Rengar, some more combo with Ori, and made it work really well. So excited to see what we see in draft this time around, Deserex, as we're finally off and ready for Series 2 on the day.
Series 2, game number 1, Cincinnati Fear versus AOE. A quick reminder, AOE currently at 7th place, 2 and 4 in series. 4th place, Cincinnati Fear, getting themselves in a position to lock in for that 4th spot. They get a win right now. Definitely feel pretty good going forward, but for AOE, it's all about climbing back up. Strength of schedule might be on their side, Cubby.
Yeah, at least for AOE, like, they have Fear, Wildcard, and DSG, so technically some teams a little bit lower in the standings, and we saw yesterday DSG, the 2-0 against Mirage Alliance, that it looked like it did them some favors going up against an opponent that was a little bit weaker as a team trying to figure it out. I think for me, it hasn't been AOE, like, it's not like it's super, like, in-game direction issues, it's just, like, there isn't, like, a sound identity from this team, you know? Like, I can talk about FlyQuest Challengers, like, hey, they're really good at playing towards topside, Quad's getting solo leads, right? Maryville, it's Yuji often 5-picks jungle and goes off, like, Niles will sack waves to attack bot. I don't really have a formula that I've seen AOE been able to demonstrate that can consistently win games with. So, then again, we've seen the least amount of tape on AOE. They've only played 6 series so far, 3 more in the next couple of days. Excited to see if AOE can show more what they've been working on all split in practice.
In AOE, so far, the attack is going to be in the bottom lane. They're taking away a lot of those strong marksman picks, such as the Varus and the Senna. Also going to ban away the Lucian on top of that. We have 5 marksman bans in total, so Fear going straight for that mid lane. They're going to start beckoning some of those combos that can work with Orianna, so that's their first lock-in.
So Callista is a champ that, at least in Challengers, it's pretty weak. It has a 30% win rate. It only has 7 wins on the board. Wixie is responsible for 3 of those, and he's actually 3-0 in the champ. So his 4th play, comboing that with a Voldabear, and this is all about stacking dragons for AoE. And Rosethorn is someone that very much likes to dictate the early game in terms of not just champion picks, but also how he plays the map, making sure that he's able to go for plays, something that I think traditionally I've seen Rosethorn have the most success on. Definitely a champ that can empower him to do that. So a lot of early game showing for AOE. Not surprised to see Fear just grab a Xayah Rakan. They see a Callista. They played this out to a win yesterday. Lens was fantastic in Game 3 on the Xayah. And this is the same exact draft that we saw from Fear in Game 3, opening with Ori and taking Xayah Rakan and the Callista.
And this is where we start talking about the picking order being Xayah then Rakan, right? Because that's what I saw yesterday. Yeah.
Champ wallpaper must line up. It's a small thing, but an important thing, you know? Keep the lovers duo, you know, together.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up the wins coming off of Wixie by way of playing Callista. One of the other Callista wins was Lens, so we got all our Callista players up in one spot right now. Renata locked in for AoE. This is a classic combo. Callista Renata allows you to play very, very aggressive and keep pushing that wave forward.
Mid locked in for Fear, jungler locked in for AoE. Other team doesn't have the others, so I expect bans to be thrown that way. Actually kind of curious to see what Rosethorn decides to deny from Chad, given the Volibear. I think Volibear has a lot of good matchups. And interested to see the Poppy ban. It makes sense with Callista. I really like Volibear into Poppy. I think you kind of maul that matchup. But Callista, she wants to hop, skip, and jump, and the steadfast presence makes that rather difficult.
Yeah, that Poppy not going to be on the map. Taking a look at what lanes are available, it's going to be top and jungle for Cincinnati Fear. Top and mid, you still got your solo lanes for AoE, so that's one of the nice things about being on red side is you can flex around a little bit more with your solo lanes being up. The man comes in attacking those solo lanes. Rumble, taking off the rift.
Most of Zamudo's lines have been the Udyr, Rumble, Cassante. Udyr taken away in the first phase of draft, Rumble later on. I'm wondering if we just see a Cassante denied again from Zamudo as the Chad Rengar is taken away, but I mean, this is something that's unique about Chad's champ pool. You have to spend a ban on Rengar. Now you're letting through Vine, Nocturne, these picks that really traditionally synergize well with that Orianna. It's all available for Chad. So I think a Vi for him this game looks really appetizing to me, having that point and click on Callista and that instant synergy with Orianna as well.
It's kind of a sad note, but I know Cincinnati Fear, especially listening to their comms videos, that they draft for the Ori Rengar as a combo, as a way to deliver the ball. You don't actually see them use that combo too often. It's usually just Toasty doing it himself and Chad just destroying the rest of the map. But as the next pick comes in, AoE, they're going to lock themselves into Taliyah.
All right, so Taliyah can get beat out later on in the 1v1 as Orianna, but you have a lot of early pressure, and you give Callista a lot of space with that Unraveled Earth. So I like that. I'm wondering if we see a Wukong from Chad. That could be the other option, I think, in the Volibear. I know I talked about Vi. I think Nocturne's doable. But I expect Chad to go one of these routes where it's a really good combo into Taliyah or with the Ori. And, okay, it's going to be Xin. Here, I really like Volibear into Xin. So I'm curious to see people take Xin into Volibear because I feel like you just get... You only have one way to go is in, and that is in. And if you go into a Volibear, you get mauled. So, for me, that's an interesting pick coming out from Chad. There are other options that I would have rather seen Chad go with, like the Wukong or the Vi.
I mean, if anyone wants an example of what Cubby just mentioned, just go watch the last series for the Xin Zhao Volibear matchup. It was pretty brutal just waiting in that brush and getting free feeds. But now this next lock-in, so we're going very, very aggressive with this frontline setup by Fear. Not going to be the tankiest, but one that just wants to run at you.
Maybe Zamudo goes for a Jax here. I mean, that's a pick that I've seen him play that is decent. Either way, I mean, he's at threat of now being ran down by Olaf, and curiously enough, Jace coming in for the long lane for Zamudo. So I expect to see a phase rush from Zamudo so we can get away from the axes, but the R press from Olaf and Philip is gonna feel quite good this game, as it's a lower damage mid jungle, or I should say mid marksman, like the carries. I mean, Taliyah, Callista, that's a lot of damage over time. Plenty of time for Philip to run in there and make sure that he's able to really get the fight going with this Ragnarok. And Fear, I think the onus is going to be on them to find the team fight engages, whereas AoE going to need to be ahead early with the draft they have. They have a lot of priority and the potential for Volibear to win out in this jungle matchup. So want to see AoE try and make plays. I think the onus is on them as they get outscaled by the Ori and the Xayah later on.
They do have a lot of ways to make those plays happen, because I'm going to look in the mid lane right away. We did say someone, Onat, he's been kind of the bar when it comes to mid laners in the league. But if you want to open up that position, I mean, you get a lot of roam potential with Talia once you are able to hop on that Weaver's Wall. That was one of those big picks that helped him against the Mirage Alliance game when Onat had picked the Talia before. But now, it's time to put up or shut up. Cincinnati Fear versus AOE, now in the Rift.
We got 3 phase rushes in this game, so really trying to play around with range for Toasty, Onat,
and around with these camera angles.
Yeah, we're getting fancy here on Challengers League. Shout out to all of our observers helping out, as we've got Kai at the helm, doing a great job as always today. And
the overhead counts as another camera angle, so I can't say camera angles, it's 2.
Okay, well, all right.
Duck. Hey, Mad Magical.
We love the duck hopping in. I do want to say, I think this game, again, kind of dictated by Rosethorn. Curious if he decides to get active at all. Volibear, you have so many options in terms of how you clear. And I think AoE camps to start. I think when you are playing Volibear, you got to start Wolves or Raptors. And it looks like we're going to have Rosethorn start out on the Raptors. Philip, we'll sneak around here. Wonder if he wraps around on Rosethorn. This could be really cheesy. Oh my.
All right, camp has spawned. Here comes Philip. Rosethorn's just going to see this. Now one axe goes in. Rosethorn's forced to just walk away. He doesn't really have much of a kit. Well,
wow. He gives
still got the passive of Olaf. It's easy.
He gave up that side of the jungle, and Philip gets a great ward down. So a ton of information early for Fear. That's a really clever level 1. That's one way to get Chad ahead. Can our observers check out top wave? I want to see if Olaf missed any creeps or experience, as it looks like 2 melee minions went down. So Philip did miss experience from those 2. So he will be late to hit level 2, and this wave will be shoved in early. But I mean, for getting all that info against the Volibear and making sure that you can't find the Xin Zhao. Talk so much about how strong Volibear is the first couple clears. That's a lot of info now that Chad can play with.
And Cincinnati Fear, they play around their mid jungle a lot. Chad had told me if you watch an overview of Cincinnati Fear's plays, a lot of this revolves around Toasty and him setting up for Toasty. So getting some breathing room away from this Volibear enables Chad to not have to fear this counter matchup as much, and to still be capable on the map right now. As Rosethorn coming through the mid lane, Chad will see that. This is Present Feld as well.
Yeah, Toasty's going to push Onat up.
We go.
Able to get in.
Talon strike, waiting for the knockup. Still has the 3rd strike to get the knockup on the Rosethorn. Chad instead will turn it around with the flash for first blood. And this duo can be so deadly, man. Chad, audacious, charges away. He will survive, and Fear get first blood.
I want to see a replay of that one. I don't know if Chad,
baby,
got under the seismic shove, or the Unraveled Earth was just off cooldown. Either way, Onat melts to the Xin Zhao, as Chad able to find first blood and even sneaks out in this matchup. Really good for Chad and Fear. As I didn't see Onat use Unraveled Earth. I wonder if it's on cooldown or not.
He threw it down. It was right on top of Chad, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but it's late.
Away.
So you can stop the stun. Because usually, you want to use it to stop Xin on the way in, so you can already create some space. I didn't see the seismic shove either. Regardless, Chad flashes, finds the 3 Talon Strike knockup, and then dashes out. Well played by Chad.
Wow.
And I love that it was a level 1 play. They found out where Rosethorn was. They set the side of the map the Rosethorn was going to be. And Chad made the move to get first blood. I know both these junglers historically have been so active and proactive on the map. Really like seeing that team-wide strategy from Philip to get the vision, and then Chad empowering him to make a call.
Yes, keep in mind, Rosethorn was forced to go towards the other side of the map. He came in with blue buff. If he had red buff, that auto finishes off Chad. He burns down. So every single little aspect of this early game came together for that first blood.
Ooh. Clever there from Breezy. Denied the duo recall from Lens. It will be a little bit late to lane. I love the fact you bring up the blue buff versus red buff too, because in those types of fights, everything counts. And those are the things that, Chad kind of lives for. He prides himself on, what other people see as 50-50s, he sees as maybe 60-40s, right? And a lot of those small windows, again, mechanically, just flashing onto Talia to ensure the kill there was really well played from Chad. And those are the moments where we really feel like historically, that's when Chad's at his best.
And when I was talking to Chad, One of the things he told me was, I feel like I've always had Rosethorn's number my entire career. Only time he's given Rosethorn credit was that one match where he got kicked out of playoffs, but
yeah,
for the most part,
summer.
yeah, this has been the case for Chad. He was able to stay on top of the play thanks to the setup coming from his team. Again, he's been a more vocal shot caller for the squad, and that really did feel like a Chad setup and Chad play.
This is a big contest, though, from Fear and Chad. I don't think Chad can find this. It's really important that with the Callista comp, you are able to secure these early dragons. I think that this is really what AoE's comp is designed to do, is make sure that they are hitting dragons on those timers. The big question is going to be, you know, can Philip get out from under this Jace? And is there a Grubs play that will be available for Fear as Daption finds a nice knockup, and that'll be a good trade from Lens. This wave gets in.
Crashing the wave into the tower. All the meanwhile, Rosethorn pathing up towards this top side. I was kind of curious how this top side was going to go, just because Zamudo opting into the Jace matchup. Wanted to see where Rosethorn wanted to put his aggression, but because of Philip forcing the play for Rosethorn to get out from that side of the map, it did give a lot of breathing room over to Philip to continue just laning against this Jace. But now I want to see what Rosethorn is going to do when he actually arrives into that lane.
Tiamat completed for Xin Zhao. We've seen Xin go with a lot of different starting items. I expect to see the return to the Titanic Hydra here, even though Stridebreaker did see some changes, but that auto attack reset that enables you to get out the fast Talon Strike on the Q, something that Xin Zhao players like a lot.
Yeah.
Chad is up in items. There is a D-Blade in the inventory, a Rosethorn, and nothing else. I'll take the Tiamat over that at this point. But again, Voldebear levels 1 through, you know, pretty much 7, 8. This champ's a beast. It's really tough to move. So Fear, they have at least shifted up the Rakan, and they might play for a little bit of poke, which they can do. They have the range with Toasty and Daption, so if they're able to like get Voldebear to take some damage, maybe there's a move, and they're going to split the river, as Zamudo Rosethorn are going to be forced out.
Zamudo, a little bit of chip damage, but the presence from Cincinnati Fear does stop Rosethorn from grabbing the grubs. Not even able to play him one.
Though. So mid-push is big, because now Toasty, he's going to have to respond, and this is the real question. Is AoE continue to commit to the grubs, or do they play for the bot side in the camps? It looks like AoE, they're going to give up on the grubs chase, they're going to go play for the camps.
Daption catches out Breezy, but Breezy's okay with that, just 2 supports. Setting up for Rosethorn to steal away this Raptor camp and get some control of AoE over in the bottom side. All the meanwhile, we're starting to get those level 6 breakpoints. Len's able to grab his, same thing with Wixie. And what's always really fun about the Callista is once you start going... Okay, go ahead. What's up?
Chad's coming to contest. I know that Wixie's... Chad dropped the grubs. He's not sticking around. They're going to try and make a play on Rosethorn. You can see Onat's going to try and cover. I think Chad's late. So Chad just not opting for the trade, loses out. And Chad could be in trouble here.
I get caught by Seismic Shove. Flash is out before the knockback can be found. So Rosethorn, Onat, both getting the flash out of the jungler of Cincinnati Fear.
And Rosethorn takes away 2 camps from the Xin and has all of his camps to return to on this side of the map. And so I think that Chad dropping grubs there, he just doesn't get anything in return. He was looking for the fight, which is a little bit optimistic, and that's a risk that didn't pay off. He wasn't able to find it, and that gets Rosethorn ahead of the jungle matchup.
One thing I was going to say was, usually when you're setting up for the bottom lane to try and dive something, Azaya Rakan is not the funnest lane to dive, but you have so many assets to set up a dive for AoE. Gotta hold that thought because Ragnarok's going to be popped. It's Mudo goes forward, able to wait out the Ragnarok, so that ultimate going to be down. But over in the bot lane, if they do want to set up for that, you can get Breezy to take turret aggro, then you can Fates Call him away. But that's not just that. Volibear can stop the turret. Straight up. So there's, I really do like the fact that you have those options if you do want to try and shut down this bottom lane of Cincinnati Fear.
I mean, Riot made it so that Volibear, the numbers are just undeniable, you know? You have to respect this champion, and see how quick teams are able to pick him up. Volibear is a rather straightforward champion that you can kind of plug and play. I mean, mechanically, the champion's not a challenge. It's really just, it allows you to dictate so much of the map. You just have to have good teams when it comes to really deciding what you want to do with the power of Volibear and making sure that you're efficient with that and hitting your plays. And I think the big thing for AoE, you teased the Volibear Callista, some of the synergy in terms of bot dives. I've teased some of it in Dragon takes. I think that's going to be important coming up as Dragon's 40 seconds away, and AoE wants to keep that Dragon timer on time. And that's what I'm curious about with Chad and why I thought it was so big that he dropped grubs, because the first spawn of grubs that Rosethorn's taking right now does give you as a jungler quite a bit of XP. And Chad's behind now in XP. He's going to drop out of the grubs.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to pick up the respawn camps like that. Play for Chad to drop the grubs and go attack Rosethorn, who was taking his camps. That not working out. That's some pretty big ramifications on the jungle matchup. It's forcing Chad to pretty much respond to plays. He can't really be proactive in looking for them. And I think that this upcoming Dragon, I really want to see how hard Fear pushes AOE, because AOE want this, and their comp is built to take this. But if Fear wants contest, that's a question of if they can find a setup good enough for them or not to do so.
Already, Seismic Shove lands on the Chad, so trying to start up on the contest. Chad going to lose a bit of HP in the process. Rosethorn is headed onto this side of the map, and you have priority in the bottom lane for AoE, so it's a good spot for AoE to transition that over to the river, as you had mentioned earlier, and a setup for that dragon. It's already up, waiting for the take.
Some good discipline being shown by both of our teams here. Toasty is going to return to the wave. He's going to try and keep mid-prio. I think Fear is going to drop this. Chad doesn't get a lot for it, though. And again, I think that's pretty big. Like, Zen got first blood, was ahead. But Chad opted to try and make the team play. Hold on, Zamudo's in trouble.
Yeah, Zamudo's going forward. All the meanwhile, Rosethorn's taking the dragon, but Philip's got to be careful. He doesn't have enough health in the gas tank to fight this one out.
Well played from Zamudo, dodging out of the 1v2. He doesn't drop a summoner spell. Philip does have access to that TP and will need it to get back as the second dragon secured by AoE, and they roll Cloud Soul. Not terrible for him. I will say that if Fear is able to pick up a couple of Cloud Dragons, I think that could really hurt AoE's comp. So not the best draw, but AoE continue to really hit what their comp needs to win, which is early Drakes, and that's fine.
Staying quite busy right now, and Rosethorn getting busy with the bottom lane. Lens tries to clear the wave. He's got to be quite quick on this one. Another Storm is available for him. Able to use the ultimate to catch out Rosethorn. Will be Daption. Now Rosethorn has to get out using his own ultimate and flash. So Fear defend the attack of AoE.
That's really good from Fear. You highlighted it, Deserex, how powerful Callista Volley can be on the dives. You have a Talia coming too. That's totally worth Toasty's TP, just to completely nullify that play. So I think Fear really happy with that, and if Fear can continue to slow things down, I think Xayah is going to be a big difference maker later on. The ability for Xayah to DPS in fights, it's the build from Xayah can be very aggressive to do so. So if Lens can get the resources that he needs, it could be an angle for Fear.
Here we go, Daption doesn't get the knock up onto Onat, but the shockwave will find Onat. Ooh, Onat should have flashed earlier because it's far too late, or is it? Just barely gets out, 75 HP remains, and Onat will live.
Toasty not going to commit the flash to follow and try and clean up that kill. That will be a summoner spell advantage, though, that Fear can look at later on. As again, Onat, like in this isolated matchup against Ori, you have the ability to clear the wave, but like in the raw 1v1, at this point, Ori has the advantage. So I like to see Fear trying to push that, and an opportunity for Toasty to really step up in this game, as he is off to a decent start and has potential to do a lot more.
See Rosethorn putting a little presence towards that top side. For the moment being, it is just going to be Control Ward down. We do have another respawn coming in quite soon. And now Chad, looking at the opposing jungler, does eyeball bot lane, but this is a very hard lane for him to find an angle onto. It rotates back over to the mid. Chad finding a hard time finding his way into this game.
This is good, though, from Chad. He's just trying to keep control and finds Onat, who's flashless.
There's no flash. Yeah, there's no flash. This should be a kill. That was very greedy from Onat right there, and Chad's able to capitalize.
I mean, that's too easy for Chad. Yes, he burns his flash, but that kill goes over to the Orianna, his mid laner. That's exactly what Fear wants in downtime. And that could be enough. Onat does have empowered TP when he respawns, but that's 20 seconds in the cage. Rift Herald is alive, and Philip trying to get Zamudo.
It's being used. Flash is available for Zamudo, so he shouldn't be caught out here.
Flash.
Does get his flash out, so something you can revisit for a little bit later. Philip putting his authority out. All the meanwhile, Chad grabbing the Rift Herald.
Good flash from Zamudo. That was necessary. It stopped Ragnarok and made sure that he was safe. I think that he needed to flash in that aspect. Meanwhile, Chad, as you highlighted, free Rift for Fear. Come back kind of asking, when does Chad find a foothold in this game? And you teased that a lot of Fear's play has been around mid and those timers and windows, and Chad has hit two really good ones to take Onat down twice.
2 kills on Onat being spread between Chad and Toasty evenly.
That's big, man. Daption got all the little rocks there. That's very useful.
But Wixie's getting all the plates and all the turret HP over here.
Lights are down. First brick short to follow. They did put Toasty bot to try and at least wave clear these. Toasty does have the best wave clear. And Soriana.
Adaption in no danger right now. Does have
I think they gotta stack it. I think that's enough.
Here
Onat's
comes Onat.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big
Reaper's
ult.
wall. There we go. They can just auto down the turret. They don't even need to really focus them until the turret's gone, and gone it is. But look at the health bar of Rosethorn. He will fall, and it's going to be a kill found by the Ori.
Breezy, though, on the chase. Daption going to have to take a really weird route out of here. I think Lens might be able to save him. You get the extended range on your E as Rakan when you have Azaya. Should be enough. Yeah, Daption able to sneak out. Meanwhile, topside, Zamino, no more flash. Chad's on him.
Yeah, here comes Chad revisiting that lane. Knows the flash is down, so he will get a shutdown delivered right over to Philip.
That's good for Philip. Again, I think Philip can do a lot of work in this game. There isn't significant burst damage to remove Olaf from these fights. And if Philip is able to auto the work that Olaf can get down significant, so not only do they get the kill, they get the rest of the turret for Philip and Fear as well. I really like the responses that we've seen from Fear on the map here. I think the stall in the 2v3 was good from Toasty and Daption. I thought Daption especially played that really well. And then this top, I mean, there's a numbers advantage bot side for AoE, so your Fear, easy advantage in the top side. Eclipse makes you very strong in skirmishes, but Xin Zhao and Olaf is enough to take down the flashless Jace.
And very nice from Chad, because he's punishing these flash timers. Did it on Onat earlier in the mid lane. He does it again to Zamudo in the top lane. But AoE, they want to continue this dragon stacking, Cody.
It's big for AoE, just hit the timers. But this time, this one's going to be tough for them. As Toasty trying to hold the line against Zamudo is spotted.
Daption doesn't have ultimate.
Oh,
and he's going to be caught out because of it. Drops so quickly, Fear in a bad way, but the shockwave of Toasty is going to be enough. You get big damage onto Breezy, onto Zamudo, but no one has fallen for AoE. Fear down 2 members, still dancing around this dragon. And this is a tough gambit right now. Weaver's Wall goes out, separating Toasty and Philip, but Dragon secured by AoE.
I think Fear are strong enough to try and contest that. I think they played it too quickly. They needed to wait for Chad and Daption to get those ults back up. As you highlighted, Daption having new ult was massive in that fight, Deserex, and no Crescent Guard available for Chad either. I think that helped AoE ensure they were able to take that third dragon. Again, the 22-minute soul, that win con when you have a Callista is serious, and AoE's done a good job of executing it so far this game.
1.1k in the lead right now. 3 dragons. Dragon Soul will be big. Fear have to get themselves in a situation where they can chase AoE out of that pit and stop that stacking, stop that Dragon Soul. Part of that means getting control of the side lanes. Philip looking to take a tower, but it might cost him his life in the process as Rosethorn realizes there's no tower to defend Philip. Ghost is going to be burnt from Philip. He's kind of playing around right now. Here it gets very tricky. Cleanse going to be used, and here goes Philip. Down goes Philip. No! He'll take Zamudo with him. Oh, so angry. That boy B will not go down without a fight. Knockup going to be found. Cincinnati Fear across the map are looking for plays. Hostile takeover lands onto 2. Able to use the Feather Storm to get the root on Onat, but Onat brings the pert right on back. Looking to rock their world, but there's a shockwave from Toasty. And he brings the hurt. He brings the damage. He brings the pain. Shut down for Toasty, Alex. Onat returns fire.
Yeah, Lens and Daption ended up on the wrong side of that fight. They really tried to take down the Talia, but Onat has the evolved Seraphs. So that shield was enough to make things really awkward for Fear. It's a 3-for-3 across the map, but I think importantly, as you highlighted, Deserex, all the gold is on Toasty's shoulders as this Orianna. And Ori can really break the game plans of AoE if she gets ahead like this. As Chad yet again flashing over the seismic shove. Daption finds the combo. I mean, this is all fine and dandy. Lens just tries to go for Onat, and between the Locket and the Seraphs coming in, it wasn't enough. Daption gets stuck, and this is where things get a little bit hairy for Fear. But Toasty with a Shockwave pretty much takes down 2 members on his lonesome. Pixie, yes, finds the bailout kill onto Chad, not enough. And then Lens trying to get out here. That was tough. I think maybe if Toasty holds on that QW that missed initially, they can use it to zone Talia off. So again, playing things a little bit slower here from Fear to do them a couple solids, but overall, Fear trying to keep this one action-packed. Daption barely able to get away.
Gets away with about 300 health. But Toasty right now is looking good. It is all about Toasty. This Orianna is online. These shockwaves can be so devastating. AOE will have to watch the map and watch the zone control. The command attack being on the map means any choke point you're at, that ball can come in and just ruin your day.
And it's all about 2 minutes from now when that last dragon spawns. Soul would be rather nice for AoE. I think denying this for Fear would be big. I want to see them take that red buff really close to the dragon that spawns, because after 20 minutes, you do get the buffs. Not again.
Kai, come on.
I would rather have that be feet, man. Honestly, that's terrible.
Oh, Cubby, you revealing something right now? We'll talk about that later. Don't you worry.
I don't want to get too deep into that. That was supposed to be a throwaway, not something to focus on. Regardless,
I'm down to continue this conversation, Cubby.
Let's talk about something that doesn't have feet. That's Dragon. Wait, no, Dragon has feet. All right, we're out. 90 seconds till Cloud Dragon. It's Soul on the board for AoE. They need this
you're
one.
exposing yourself, brother.
Don't worry about it. You know, if you have my cam on your screen, you see I'm nice and red right now.
Oh god, I bet. I should have put it up, but hey, that's my fault. And right now, putting up good numbers will be Toasty as he tries to still maintain an eye of what AoE are doing over here. AoE have some pretty good vision control towards this Baron side, minus the Scuttle Crab. That's what's giving AoE some pretty decent windows, as you saw earlier. Daption almost getting caught by some of that vision.
Team reset 1 minute before. That's good. Fear's at least going to take a sweep to get some bullets out. That's a valuable chip damage on the Daption. Might have to reset beforehand. Fear will be first into the bot side river, but this should be retaken by AoE. And I think it's just all about Toasty in this fight. Toasty is ahead in the items. He should be ahead on the gold by now. As, yeah, you can see where he climbed on the board. Toasty, if he's able to do well in this fight, Onat's flashless at the moment. I think that's the big target that you look for if you are Fear. Toasty has flash available and has the ability to wombo with both Xin and Rakan. So keep your eyes on that Shockwave.
AoE have Wixie with a lot of economy as well. This is what you want the Callista to be at this stage of the game. Dragon Soul is spawning. This is your security for the Dragon Soul. But AoE might not even put pressure towards that side of the map. Instead, they're catching out Daption once again. Daption goes for the slip and slap, but he burns down to Breezy's Ignite.
No. I mean, they blue triggered the Baron. They had the crab up. They didn't need to walk in there like that. The objective is the dragon itself, and now Toasty.
Seismic shove. Toasty's in a bad way. He gets caught. He gets shut down. AoE take control of the map, and right now it looks like a prime Baron position.
The hammer from Zamudo caught Toasty off guard. He wasn't able to flash a response because he was stunned over the unraveled earth. As now, the three members of Fear, they have a smite available, but it's a 3v5, and AoE, you got to figure any abilities that hit here could be doomsday for Fear.
Okay, keeping what is on the table for Fear right now. Len still has his Featherstorm, still has his Flash. Philip is getting low. Chad goes in, and Len's looking for the choke point. Getting a lot of feathers out, going after Zamudo. One auto able to land. And now health bar starting to get low for AoE. They got to watch the positioning of the feathers. They can get rooted up at any given second. Featherstorm comes out, brings it right back with the Blade Collar. Can Lens do it? Wixie gets into his face and rends his hopes and dreams. Toasty comes in with the teleport. Will find a shutdown onto Onat. Wants to find retribution for Fear, but is finding no route to the fight.
Toasty has an ult. Toasty, yeah, he's gonna check it. He does have Shockwave. Breezy.
Oh, handshake comes down. Shockwave. Toasty will take them down. Turns it onto Rosethorn, and all by himself, all by his lonesome, he gets it done.
We were saying keep your eyes on the Orianna for a reason. As AoE, they try and turn that fight onto Toasty. He ends up coming up big in the end. Let's take a look at everything from the start. As I thought Lens had a nice fight here. Chad gets chunked out by Zamudo. Maybe popping the Crescent Guard a bit earlier could have helped him dodge out of the Shock Blast damage and live a little bit longer. Daption with the re-engage actually gets canceled by the Quistal. That was really clever from Breezy. So he's not able to get in the back line. Lens does his best here, as I thought this Rip did pretty good damage, but wasn't enough, and Wixie with that flash over ends up taking down Lens for the triple, but then it's all about Toasty. Cleans up 4 members in the 1v4 in the end. Man, Toasty, the laning's starting to improve, and we're seeing some of the big moments from Toasty later on in these games, as we knew that he was able to play out these fights well. In this one, I mean, I'm just going to say AoE over extended than this one. Breezy going for that flash. He didn't pull. It wasn't a chain stun from Rosethorn. He wasn't able to get in on time. That Shockwave connecting was massive. Wixie had no flash either. Toasty just kites it out.
Hey, man, it's a two situations that work in Fear's favor. First of all, the Fear comfort zone. You always got to be losing the game at some point for a big Fear comeback to happen. And Toasty, he gets so hyped up because a lot of his mid-game plays. That's what we talked about when it comes to his team fight back in those scouting combines. That's where Toasty really got a lot of recognition at for being a great team fighter, finding these different angles in the team fights. Chad definitely respects that. And Toasty, even when he's team fighting 1 versus 4, the man is a madman.
Death cap finished. Importantly, in the replay, Fear was able to secure that last dragon. So, hold on.
Turning onto Lens. Here comes Dash, able to find the charm, and that is a pick onto Onat. Your mid laner is dead. And Cincinnati Fear head towards the...
Toasty.
Oh, they're heading towards Toasty. Shockwave goes out. Doesn't catch Breezy. Fate's Call going to be enough, but the rest of Cincinnati Fear want a piece of Wixie. Hostile takeover goes out. It's not going to do a damn thing. And he's angry. He's mad. He's pissed off, and he's dropping axes. A double kill for Philip. The fight with the double knockup found by Dabshin. The wrong way for Zamudo to go. Cincinnati Fear siege up top lane.
AOE, their comp is starting to get outscaled. You can see it, but honestly, it's just them being split across the map as Fear. They deployed as a team and found all of the AOE split, pretty much cleaned them all up. So they get 3 kills, they get an inner turret. And that's all. This is all off of AOE's Baron. I mean, they were the ones that took the Baron, but it's been the true power play for Fear here in the past couple minutes.
Cincinnati Fear might get flanked out right now. Philip has a long road to take to get home and not enough health. Onat going to get a little bit of revenge after the last altercation he was in. And down a member will be Cincinnati Fear.
Man, that was some like middle school bowling there. Thrown in the corner, and you got rocks coming at you. That's no fun. It's not very nice from Onat.
Wait. Onat did that to Philip after Philip had sent his 3 boys after Onat.
Okay, well, I mean, that's just some warfare on the playground, which I don't know if we endorse that or not. Either way, good find from Onat as the TP.
Yeah, you know, the only thing we endorse here is feet, of course.
Okay, no, we're done. This is I got to kill this joke. I endorse feathers from Lens getting ripped. Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah.
Woo. Go Lens. Yeah.
Go get him, Lens.
Feathers and spears, you know?
And Oriana's ball, too.
Yeah, okay. That can get into dangerous territory as well. Let's
Thank you so much, Kai. Thank you so much.
Yes, global red buff coming in.
We're on a goal to just break Cubby at this point.
I mean, if the gameplay can't do it, then something else has to, you know? This has been a good game to watch, as it's been very back and forth. AOE still looking for that Dragon Soul. Again, I think every Cloud Dragon, a lot of stock for Fear. If you are able to get Cloud Drakes behind Olaf, Xin, Rakan, that can really help you close the gap and have those sound engages that Fear are looking for to combine with this level 18 Shockwave, or 16 Shockwave. I thought it was 18 on Toasty. Regardless, Toasty's very far ahead in this game. And very scary as the Oriana. Gonna fix that top wave 1 minute before the dragon spawns. Expect Toasty to base, reset, and we'll see how far he is into that Crypt Bloom coming out next.
This might be the last opportunity for AOE to secure this Dragon Soul, because the tables have been turning more and more as we've gone deeper into this.
I think if Lens gets a Vamp Scepter next, it's gonna be really tough to even have AOE find the poke on the Xayah to connect. Zamudo doing a nice job against the Xayah. Xayah, of course, victim to range. And actually a very early Weaver's Wall coming out. They want the turret, but it's not enough.
Very questionable right there. Turning on to Philip is going to be Wixie. Still takes half his health, even more than that.
Well done. That's a Sterix pop, too, before the Dragon. Well done from Wixie. Again, 3-0 on this Kalista that has a 30% win rate in Challengers League. I think Wixie's had some good looks this game.
Now, still holding control. The mid wave is going to be AOE. They got 20 seconds before that Dragon does spawn. Last time they were in this situation, they peeled off towards the Baron side of the map, and they're still kind of hovering towards that side, but finally Breezy's going to move over. This is going to be a Dragon setup for AOE as they get control of the river.
And Toasty, he didn't base and port in after he got that wave in. He actually walked, and now he's able to port back after eating some Jay's poke. I think that's really well done by Toasty. I think that was very correct by him now looking back, as that's big, having your most fed member return with a full health bar. As Philip has an angle, here we go.
Ooh, no Unraveled Earth. That's going to be on cooldown, so Chad could just run right on in. Phillips on the flank, and Zamuto's down. Hostile Takeover goes off, only going to land onto 3, but not doing too much work there. It's Fear who are ready to bring the hurt, bring the pain over. Here comes Rosethorn, tries to get it onto Chad. Chad's going to be okay. Lens goes forward, drops the feathers onto Onat, turns his attention onto the bear, turns his attention onto Callista, and Fear will outright sweep AOE.
I mean, good take from Fear. I think Lens is just doing way too much damage in these fights, and the space that Fear is able to buy for their carries in both Toasty and Lens. Some of the good gameplay we saw yesterday continuing this weekend for Fear as they find game 1.
Cincinnati Fear, 4K lead, 30 minutes into it, closing out the game. Looking to make their stats, make their claim for that 4th place spot. Step number 1 complete. Game number 1.
That was a good game. Honestly, I think that Chad, like, he'll probably want not taking the first grubs back because he got pretty far behind from Rosethorn taking his jungle. And that did give AOE some strength in the middle of this game. I think AOE made good decisions. They stacked the dragons, just wasn't quite fast enough. And Toasty getting all those kills in the mayhem that was after Baron really ended up hurting that lobby in the end, as Toasty did really good work throughout that game. So, well done.
You can clearly see why Chad wanted to play with Toasty coming into this season. What a performance out of Toasty, man. That 4v1 that he got at the back half of the fight was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm sure we got more plays to come out of Toasty because we got more games to come out of this series. We're going to throw it over to quick break. When we return, we'll get into game number 2 of AOE versus Fear.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Before this guy won this, he actually won this. And now these guys, they're trying to do the same.
He's looking for the killer instinct. He's going
Basu.
in. He finds 2. He finds 3.
Basu, you are utterly ridiculous. This guy is also trying to do what that guy did. And he didn't win one of those, but he did win this.
Welcome to the new era. A toast to our champions, Disguise.
This guy played one split of LCS and then made semis at Worlds.
It's been a long journey, but I'm happy to be here now.
He's always been really good, but he finally made the comeback. Oh, and he did it with this guy. This guy won Academy, and he had some dreams.
I want to be like the best NA mid laner to go to Worlds, right?
Dokla, however, very, very low. Reinforced by the Senna ultimate, and the Pop Blossom is so awesome!
This kid? Yeah, this kid. He actually didn't win an Academy, but a lot of people thought he was good, and boy, were they right. This guy made Worlds his very first year as a player. It took him a while to get back. He even played with this kid. But then, they did all of this together.
Nobody thought they'd win LCS! Nobody thought they'd beat G2! It's time to change your mind!
You know all of these names, but do you know the names of who's next? The future of the LCS starts right after the LCS. Welcome to Challengers League.